Painting kitchen cabinets for under $200? Is it possible? Absolutely, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Alright, for those of you who are new to this channel, my name is Juan. I'm the owner of 518 Painters, and if you haven't done so, please subscribe right now. I'm always uploading content about anything that has to do with painting and tips and tricks and home improvement. So it's I'm sure there's something in there that you would like. I would suggest to check out my other videos too. But yeah, let me get right to it. So pretty much your whole project is gonna depend on your prep. Your prep and your product. You know, you don't want to be too cheap with the product. You know, you get what you pay for. Let's be honest. You know, you buy a $20, $10 paint. You know, that's the type of results you're gonna achieve. So the product that we'll be using today, I'm gonna leave a link in the description. So the primer that we're gonna be using is a urethane acrylic called Sticks, and the top coat is gonna be Benjamin Moore Advanced Alkyd. Between oil-based primer and the Sticks, those are really my top two go-to primers. And the Benjamin Moore Advanced is just you know, it's so easy to work with. It's self-leveling. It's easy to sand, and the finish that you get is it's a solid. It's like almost like a, you know, like a shell. It really even if you're not an experienced painter, you know, the stuff kind of works with you. You know, it's very forgiving. So it's gonna make this project really easy for anybody, pretty much. So with kitchen cabinets, usually they tend to be very dirty and very greasy, especially the ones that are located directly over your stove and oven tend to have a high buildup of grease and oils. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you clean these thoroughly before you do anything. So what I like to do is spray this heavy-duty degreaser. It's a citrus degreaser. But yeah, what you would do is you spray down your surface, your doors, your drawers, your frame, pretty much everything that you're painting. Soak it with the degreaser. What you're trying to do, you're trying to get rid of the oil, the grease, anything that the paint won't adhere to. Once you spray on your degreaser, let that sit for a couple of minutes. Then wipe it off with a clean rag. And what I would suggest, I would let it sit for like 5 minutes, at least 5 minutes. I already did it with this one, so for demonstration purpose, you know, I didn't let it sit too long. But anyways, yeah, so what you want to go around, you want to, you know, feel if there's anything that you need to knock off, any dirt that you missed. What I do, I take my 5-in-1. You can take pretty much anything, credit card works sometimes, and knock off any dirt and debris. Go ahead and wipe it again. And this goes pretty much for every part that you're painting. You know, whether it's your drawers, your frame, everything that's being painted. You want to make sure you prep it correctly. You want to degrease it. Make sure you get all the debris off before you go ahead and start sanding. When you start sanding it, you want to use 150 grit and lightly scuff up your surface. What you're trying to do is you're trying to take the gloss, you're trying to degloss it, and you're trying to give the paint and your primer and your paint something to grab onto. So what I like doing, and this is important too, if you're doing this, if you got somebody helping you, you want to make sure you guys are on the same page as far as sanding. You want to go pretty much, always go with the grain when you're sanding, and you know, the same pattern that you're doing, the same way you're sanding, you want your partner to sand the same way, just so later on, you know, there's no, you don't see any difference once you put the paint on, you know, and one person went against the grain, the other one went with the grain, you know, you're gonna have texture differences in your finish. So what I suggest, either you know, you designate one person to sanding, or you know, you guys talk it out before you sand, and make a plan on how you're gonna attack it. So yeah, take your 150 grit and just lightly scuff up the surface. You don't even have to put much pressure. Same thing in here. What I'm using a sanding sponge to wrap my paper around. Make sure you get your corners. And that's it. You want to make sure, you know, you hit every spot, look at it in the light, and if you see any glossy spots, you know, you hit those again. And then you take your rag and wipe off any dust. You want to get rid of every dust that's here, especially in the corners, because if you start painting this and there's still dust and debris in the corners or anywhere on the surface, it's going to show in your finish. Alright, that's looking pretty good. So what you would do, you know, you do both sides, and you do that with every faceplate of your drawer, every door, and with your frame. You would go about the same way. And then our next step is to prime this. Alright, so let this sit for about 8 hours. Ended up doing something else, but it's looking pretty good. So what you want to do is, first thing you want to do a fingernail scratch test. You want to see if this is solid. And as you can see, the primer really adhered to the surface, so we're good to go. Next thing you want to do is you want to take some 220 grit sanding paper and see if you have any imperfection, and just very lightly wipe over those, sand over those spots, just to knock off any debris, anything that's contaminated the surface. This is pretty good. I don't see anything. So we're good to go here. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna wipe it off with a rag and get ready to apply the top coat. And another thing I want to mention real quick, whenever you're touching the surface, make sure your hands are clean. Make sure you don't have any grease, or you know, you naturally have oils on your fingers, so you want to make sure you either wash it with a good soap, like a dish detergent soap, or some Germ-X, and clean your hands really good, because if you touch the surface and you have oil or grease on it, when you go to paint over it, you know, you can have spots where the paint won't adhere to the surface, and that's what you're trying to avoid. Right. So now that we sanded everything and it looks good and everything's smooth, we are ready to apply our top coat. So you're doing the same thing like you did with your primer. We're going to take our paint, hit the edges, make sure you don't put too much paint in your corners, because it'll build up. Then we'll take our 4-inch 3/8-inch snap roller and apply our paint. Same thing, your last stroke, you always want to go in the same direction. Make sure there's nothing running or dripping off our sides. And that's it. So what we're going to do now, we're going to let this dry. There's a suggested dry time of 16 hours in between coats. So we're going to let this sit overnight, come back, see if we have to sand anything before we apply our second coat, and then do the same thing. We're going to do that with everything, with all the other doors, the drawers, and the frame. And then we'll see what we have. We're going to do that with everything. We're going to do that with the doors, the drawers, and the frame. And then we'll see what we have. Alright, so everything has a first coat now. The frame, the drawers, all the doors. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some 400 grit sandpaper, sand out any imperfections. If I have any runs, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of water, just lightly wet sand it, and then go ahead and apply the second coat. And then we should be good to go. Alright, so just a quick recap. What we did is we degreased, we deglossed, we primed, and we painted. That's all it is. It's that simple. And like I said, the prep is about 90% of your job. 90% is your prep and 10% is your product. So you want to make sure you prep it right, you get the right product, and your results are almost guaranteed. Alright, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this little video. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Also, check out some of my other videos. I'm sure you found something that you like. I got a bunch of stuff in there. Anything from airbrushing to how to paint exterior shutters. And yeah, hit that subscribe button. It helps me out and it lets me know that you guys are really interested in seeing what I do. I'll talk to you guys later.